Hello, welcome, guys. I am back for another installment. Hi, guys. I am Lady Cryptoria, and today I am speaking about, well, we're continuing the conversation about the blockchain disruption and how to prepare for Web 3.0, which, if you haven't watched my previous video on this, then I suggest you do, where I kind of go into what is sort of Web 3.0 and how we're going to see things change in the world quite quick. I mean, the next 5 to 10 years are going to look extremely different. And oh, let me just check if my 1 second, guys, because I noticed that, okay, it is. That's fine. Yeah, so we're going to be looking at the Web 3.0 and also how the music industry is going to become a totally different space. Now, this week, well, actually, it wasn't this week, but this week, I think it launched, or last week, they launched a NFT for Nas's upcoming album. And Meek Mills is also announced that he is dropping his latest project, his final mixtape, as an NFT. So I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about why they are doing, like why they're doing this. What is, and welcoming guys for those of you who are joining. Why is this, like, why are they not doing it like the traditional way? Why an NFT? So I'm going to talk about this in this video and talk around it as a whole concept, because I think we often don't understand what happens behind the scenes when we see things. So we just see the front face of, everything, even just the internet. Like, we go onto platforms, we go onto social media, we post and we see things, but we don't really see what really goes on in the background, all the data that's being stored, all the programming, all the scripts, everything that happens in the back end. And music industry, like the music industry and the film industry and all these industries, are very much the same. We see the final product, we see, the music, the end result, the finished, polished artist, but we don't actually see what really goes on in the back scene behind all of that, all the people that are involved, all the jobs and skills and everything, to even just to produce an album or to produce a concert. A lot goes into it. And so this particular moment that we're seeing in this new Web 3.0 is kind of like us moving from what kind of worked well or what was working to what could work better. Could, and I say could because, again, this is all new tech. This is all new, like NFTs and cryptocurrencies are still a very, very early technology. However, it seems that people are catching on to like why this is important. So let's just talk briefly, and I'm just going to talk around this very quickly. This isn't going to be a huge live, but it's really going to give you some more context and understanding as to why taking this route is beneficial for the artists, and also for the public, right? Because those are the two main stakeholders. And what we've seen in especially in like the music industry or the film industry or any industry where there's creatives, it's like the people with the talent, they can be exploited a lot. It's the people that monopolize the media and people that monopolize advertising and combines and radios, that are able to really add the real value. A lot of people can't sell their, well, before we had platforms and social media, a lot of people had to rely on record labels and third parties to be able to distribute their music to a wider audience. But now, because of the rise of platforms and social media, we're actually seeing that, people are able to connect with their fans directly. People are able to find new artists. So the reliance on record labels has not been as strong, but it still has been relied on the platforms. Because if you don't have the right plugger or the right people in Spotify or the right marketing or the right machine, they call it the machine, then you're probably not going to be seen or heard. So we're still, music artists and people in the industry are still dealing with this. And this is where like the blockchain situation comes in. So I'm going to just share my screen with you guys as I do, because I like to teach. And I always think to understand something, you need to see it. So let me see if I got it on my Chrome tab. Okay. So yeah, so this is what we're going to look at. Now, this is just a brief overview. Now, if you remember last week on my last video when I broke down the different phases of the fourth technical revolution, which was like, well, this fourth industrial revolution, I should say, which was to do with the whole kind of us moving from information technology and really basic stuff that we could do on the internet to now going to this new sort of platform economy. So I'm just walking you through this again, but the music version. So how many people remember Napstar? If you are live, drop a one in the comments. I mean, I was probably like really young, but I do remember when I was maybe about 16, 17. I remember when we used to do a lot of file sharing, right? And you used to have to like have this server. This was just before MP3s, or just around the time when MP3s actually were like, you could get MP3s and you could get music, and we'd share music between each other. So Napstar was like a big platform that pretty much most of us in like my age will remember. A lot of these young kids won't, but Napstar was like the thing. And then you had like Audio Galaxy, which was a bit earlier on, but that was all we could do with music at that point. Is literally we couldn't even download music. We had to share it between like networks, like peer-to-peer networks. It was complicated. It was time consuming. It was crazy. And then we moved to this platform economy here, which is where we seen the rise of things like Apple Music. So this is when like Steve Jobs, he brought in the iPod, and the iPod literally changed the whole game, because up until that point, record labels did have the monopoly, but now people could share music online and distribute music through technology or through the web. It became a whole different thing. And at the beginning of this process, record labels were suing, like Napstar got sued. So many like early day tech companies lost in court. They were getting sued left, right, and center by these record labels because now they were making music more accessible without having to use a label. So this is then like platforms evolved, because before we used to have like mini discs and MP3s, and you download them onto your MP3 or onto your mini disc player. But that phased out, and then the MP3 came, and then the iPhone came, and now we all have music on our iPhones. So that is the streaming platform era. But the problem with this technology and this era is that again, the artists don't really have a say in, like, they don't really get to profit, and they don't also get to see like the real numbers of their streams. Like a lot of that information, there's a lot of accounting, there's a lot of kind of like, how can I describe it? Anyone in the industry will know, like, your check should be bigger than it is, but it's not, because there's so much involved in people massaging the number, this sort of stuff, to exploit artists. Like, that's just, and yeah, it's good that everybody can participate, and record labels do a lot. Do a lot when it comes to being able to get an artist out there. But when we look at the real value, artists really do get exploited. The music industry is probably one of the dirtiest industries when it comes to exploitation and things like that. So blockchain platforms are like the new things. Now we've got like things like Audius. Audius is probably one of the top blockchain music platforms. It's probably about 2 years old, and this platform is really really doing things for the industry. Well, for the industry, it is really changing the industry. So I'll talk a little bit more about that I'll talk a little bit more about the Audius platform a bit, but I wanted to get us on to reading just a little bit more about the Meek Mill situation and how that looks when it comes to music on the blockchain. I just need to share my other screen 1 second. So yeah, I mean, this is a really interesting period because we're gonna see some real interesting changes, and what that looks like and how that pans out, I have no idea. But what I do know is that a trend is being set, and whenever you are looking at a market, you're going to start dipping your toe in. And especially for like investors, people who are looking at this as an opportunity, trying to position yourself, these things are really important to know about, because once you know what's going on, then you can make the most of it. Okay, so I'm just going to read this. This was an Enemy article that came out in November. And it just talks about Meek Mills is set to release his final installment of Dream Chasers as an NFT. And he'll be releasing this as a series of NFTs for his basically loyal club, which starts January the 1st. And yeah, and Nas as well is also doing a similar thing. And Nas he's selling royalty rights to his album. So he's selling the rights, well, a percentage of the royalties to album NFT holders. So this is like, what? So what is an NFT? Again, let me just answer this question. So it's a digital token, very much like a cryptocurrency, but it's a, rather than it being a currency where you can like exchange currency for currency, it's just like a one-off. It's like having a digitized version of a car or a piece of art or something. So people can buy NFTs, and I have a book on how to buy an NFT. If you want, the links will be in the comments if you've got that, if you haven't got that already. But NFTs are something you can buy, and then what people do, because there's only a limited edition of the NFT. So for example, Nas's, I believe, they were going to just release 760 NFTs. So there will only ever be 760 pieces of this digitized album or song. I think this was for a song. And each person would get a royalty. So if there's only 760, but a million people want this token, what's going to happen is as people go to buy, the price is going to go up because supply and demand comes into play. So as people want to start owning this token, it becomes the highest bidder is going to obviously get it. So often when tokens are minted, minted is when they're first created, they come out at one flat rate and everybody has the opportunity to buy. There's no kind of like hierarchy. It's just once they release it, it's like a ticket sale. If you get one, you get one. Nas's, I believe, was $500. So most NFTs, you can pick them up at launch from anything between $50 to $500. I've seen higher ones, but I usually see them around $250 when they first come out. Like, for example, the Bored Ape, their collection was $325 when it came out initially. So people who got Bored Apes at $325, and they're now worth like millions of dollars, it's a pretty good deal. So this is why people now want to buy these NFTs, because they know if they mint and get them as soon as they drop, they can sell those on for only God knows how much they'll be worth in the future. And for the artists, what they get is they get a continuous royalty. So for every single time somebody resells the NFT, and maybe it could take 20, 30, 40, 100 people could resell it, it's traded, they get a percentage. So let's just say somebody sells the $500 NFT for £1,000, right? Or $1,000, sells it on, then somebody else, so they'll get 10% of that $1,000. Somebody else can get $20,000 or $500,000. So Nas will get a lifetime royalty, and Meek Mills will get lifetime royalties from their NFTs as they are traded on the blockchain. And NFTs can be traded on like many different platforms. You can move them to any well, not to any, but if they're built on the Ethereum blockchain, you can move them onto any Ethereum based application. So it's a really, really, really sweet deal for anyone who's buying and anyone who's releasing one. All right, if that makes sense. And if you guys got any questions, please drop them in the comment. So this is why artists are now choosing to, smart ones are choosing to use the blockchain as a way to maximize the value of what they bring for the music industry, because now a lot of artists are connected directly to their fans through their social media. So they can drop an NFT collection. If you've got 100,000 fans and you're going to drop an NFT collection and you're only going to put out 500, you've automatically created scarcity and demand, which is going to drive the price of that NFT up and up and up. And then forget about legacy. So let's just say, I mean, somebody bought a Nas NFT in 2021, but in 2051, it's like he's a legend. Maybe he dies, or when he dies, you know, Michael Jackson's album, when he died, it like 10x'd. And so it's things like that. People are really looking at the value of buying in and holding these digital assets on a blockchain that keeps them immutable, cannot be changed, and they get paid for a lifetime for it. And as an investor, you can pick something up at a reasonable price now, and in the future, speculatively, it could be worth something. So that is my little talk on the music industry and why Meek Mills and Nas are selling as NFTs. And if you guys want to learn more about NFTs and how to buy them, how to sell them, and even how to create your own, please feel free, get the guides. I explain every single thing about like where to buy NFTs, where to sell them, just everything you need to know, I'll put in a guide. So feel free to get that. And thank you all for joining, and have a lovely rest of the week. Adios.